coming up. That's my hack, my life hack for risk appetite. Try bottom up. And a little hi to my dear friend, Amédée Prouveau, who's Chief Operation Risk Officer at the World Bank, who said to me during one of our many discussions, risk appetite is the sum of what we do. And so I don't know, since then around that, I highlighted what I call the bottom-up risk appetite. And the bottom-up risk appetite is basically, rather than going top-down, which I've described here, you have the board setting what they want, and then it's trickled into limits of exposure, and then controls and monitorings of risk, which is the orthodox way of doing things. You can bypass it, and you could say, well, if we have especially divisions, and I've done that for a long time. I think the first time I've done it is for a payment infrastructure company about 6 years ago. If we have departments that are very organized, very well controlled, it would be typically finance departments, it was credit risk department in a firm I have in mind. It can be the operations department potentially. It can be a divisions. I had a client where they had a new divisions and a new framework for HR risk and for third-party risks. And they didn't have the risk appetite, but they have everything in place in terms of policies, in terms of implementations of controls, in terms of limits, escalations of incidents, etc. And I said, well, everything you do, all your controls, all your attitude in terms of reducing risks and controlling and monitoring your activities says a lot about how much risk you want to take or not take. And so basically it goes down to the fact that, you know, tell me what you do and I will tell you what your appetite is. Okay. So what I suggest you do really is think of the divisions in your companies that are very well organized and documented and strict and etc. Hopefully you have one or two at least, and try to write or put a statement of what this attitude described in terms of risk appetite. And that's also interesting to confront reality with the objectives. Because what you can also do is you can do this bottom-up risk appetite, and what it says, if I observe the practice in the field of how people share emails, exchange data, share passwords, do this, do that, whatever it is, or allocate credit or trade on their positions, and you can replicate that for all sorts of risks. And if you had to describe this bottom-up part, how does this compare to what the board has said in the official statement? And when you see a big conflict, you have a problem. And my guess would be, more often than not, there will be a conflict.